Hello, this is John Friedland with AGWS University. Today we're hosting our webinar series by Bob Harkins, our Vice President of Training. This webinar is estimated for about 45 minutes of your time. All participants are muted. You can ask questions via the chat button and Zoom. A recording of this presentation will also be available to everyone who's registered. It's available upon request. There will be an email for contact information at the end of the presentation for Bob Harkins. So any questions we can't get to today or questions about the recording of the presentation can be asked of Bob, and we can send that out to you. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Bob Harkins, our Vice President of Training here at American Guardian Group of Companies. Bob?
Thank you very much, John Friedland. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to American Guardian Warranty Services University and our 2019 first quarter webinar, the 3 R's. Sounds like we're going back to school. The 3 R's that maximize deal profit. Deal profit, of course, being both front-end gross and finance and insurance income, commonly referred to TVG, or total vehicle gross. So what are these 3 R's that maximize front-end gross? We're going to see that they're refocus, recommit, and reassess. Refocus, recommit, and reassess. As we start, let's just think about commit for a few minutes. You know, it's January 2019. It's a new month. It's a new quarter. It's a new year. Many of us are facing new challenges. Also, many of us have new opportunities as well. So I was thinking, as we prepared for this, January 2019, what a great time it is to commit or recommit ourselves to our respective industries that we're a part of. I know we're joined today by people not only from the power sports and RV industries, but certainly automotive as well. We had the opportunity as part of American Guardian Warranty Services University the first week of December, just last month, to spend some time with one of our agent partners in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We were there for 3 days of training. It was all power sports and RV personnel, 34 people. And if memory serves me correctly, 3 or 4 of those were actually dealer principals as well. Now, even though RVPA and RVIA says that for 2018, when it comes to motorized sales, the motorized segment, the industry was down about 2%. But I'll tell you that the majority of people in that room, they had a tremendous year for 2018, and many of them had their best year ever. On the automobile side, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde. You remember when we went into that year 2018, NADA, JD Power, RL Polk, whatever, was saying somewhere between 16.6, 16.7, and probably not even hit 17 million. Well, as you may know, last week the dust has settled, the verdict is in, the ballots have been cast, whatever, and for 2018, we came in as an industry at 17,334,481 units, so 1733. That was an increase of 0.6% from 2017, and really 2018 came in as the 4th best year ever in the history of the car business. Think about that, the 4th best year ever in the history of the car business. However, being in many stores throughout 2018, I also know that many of the stores actually had reduced sales in 2018 as opposed to 2017. So think about maybe why that is. The breakdown of that 17.33 for last year, with 69% light trucks, crossovers, and SUVs, and 31% cars. That 31% of cars represented 5.4 million sales, and quite frankly, that was the fewest since 1958. The forecast for this year, 2019, from NADA, JD Power, is between 16.8 and 17 million new cars and light trucks. So many of us, based upon our positions and in our agencies, our agency partners in the dealership as managers and financial services managers, I'm sure you're responsible for developing forecasts, setting goals, achieving numbers and objectives, and that kind of thing. Many of you, I'm sure, use what I've used for a lot of years, the Zig Ziglar approach to accomplishing goals and setting goals. And when you come to our 4-day class that we do on a quarterly basis here in Warrenville with Chuck Hobbs and myself, we actually get into Zig's 7 steps of goal setting. And the first 3 steps, of course, are really establish your goals, write them down, and develop your plan of attack. So establish your goals, write them down, and develop your plan of attack. Let's say that we've done that. We come up with some numbers. My dollar per retail unit goal is $1,500 a car. Yours may be higher, might be lower, whatever. It's just an example. Finance penetration objective 85%, VSC penetration 65%, gap 55, ancillary products in the 50s as well. And maybe the most important objective is really to have a figure for PSPRS and PSPCL. Sounds like a prescription. Well, maybe it is. PSPRS stands for product sold per retail sale, and PSPCL stands for product sold per consumer lease. Hopefully that number exceeds 1, and many of you, I'm sure, are shooting for 2 or above as it relates to PSPRS and PSPCL. So we have those goals, and now we turn to the F&I profit recipe. And this is something that, quite frankly, the industry has talked about and taught, I'm going to say, for almost 5 decades. It's not new, but we know it works. The F&I profit recipe is comprised of 5 Ps. And the 5 Ps are the right people, the right processes, the right programs and products, the right pay plans, and then ultimately the right performance. And then that yields the profits or profitability that we're looking for, a combination of those things. That also leads us probably to the most important question that many of you have today. And that question is, how can I max out or how can I maximize my pay plan? And there's nothing wrong with that. How can I max out or how can I maximize my pay plan? I would encourage you to think about, however, if that's what we are thinking about. And if we've done the 5 Ps, we've set our goals, whatever, it's very possible that's what's missing. That what's missing in all of that is maybe the most important thing. And quite frankly, folks, the most important thing is, what do our customers want? What do our customers want? And quite frankly, folks, that's really what today's webinar is all about. Refocus, recommit, and reassess. Refocus, recommit, and reassess. Okay? We had the opportunity some time back to do a 20-group meeting. It was a group of Chrysler dealers. It was called a theme meeting, so it was dealers and their combination of finance directors and general managers. Quite frankly, my assigned topic for that day was compliance and ethics, but I got in there the night before, had dinner with the 20-group coordinator, several of the dealers that were in the group, and also their respective managers as well. And I found out real quickly that what they were talking about is what they had covered the entire first day of that 20-group meeting. And what that had to do with was the top 4 things that customers want in a buying process or sales process. And this was all based on manufacturers' focus groups for that particular 20-group meeting. Now, it wasn't really from their stores necessarily. It was NADA material, but they had the information. So I saw the sheet that customers checked off, and it was really a box type format. There were probably 12 to 15 boxes to check. And quite frankly, I was not able to get that form, but I was able to memorize the top 4 things, that customers want in a buying process based upon the NADA focus group data. And here it is, number 1, as you can see. We want to be clear and sharp from an objective standpoint. Be clear and sharp on the top 4 things customers want. Number 1, a quick and efficient sales and F&I process that is professional and transparent. To me, when you think about it, the 4 key or operative words in that phrase or statement would be quick and efficient, and then also professional and transparent. Quick and efficient, I guess that means, and it's a perception type thing. So what we certainly don't want is slow and inefficient. But I've found, and I think you might agree with me as well, that really people don't mind investing their time in something if they believe that their time is not being wasted. So the bottom line, and we'll get to this a bit later, is we need to ask questions. We call them power questions that make people stop and think so that we can have that kind of interaction. So quick and efficient. The other 2 words that I think are key and certainly very operative are the words professional and transparent. From a professional standpoint, we're not talking about the dictionary definition of professional, which is being engaged in a sport or specified occupation for pay, but we'll see later from a Zig Ziglar standpoint, we want to talk about what Zig has to say about being professional as it relates to what is the most important question in sales or selling. What is the most important question in sales or selling? And we're going to see that that question is, what do our customers see in us? So we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Now, look at the 187 and 32. Maybe that's the key to this slide and the key to focus and Refocus. In the June 28 issue of F&I and Showroom magazine, the article and the author talked about 187 and 32. Those numbers were from J.D. Power and Associates' survey, and that was the total time for new car transactions, average time, including the F&I process. So the total time was 187 minutes. I'm not real good in math, but that's just north of 3 hours. The 32 minutes is actually part of the 187, but the 32 minutes is the average downtime waiting for a F&I representative, a financial services manager, to talk with them about their purchase. So think about that. We've made that buying decision. We've signed the buyer's order, the worksheets, whatever, spending $30,000, $35,000, and on average, we're waiting 32 minutes to talk to the financial services managers. The biggest offender is just that, the wasted time waiting to get in to that F&I office. Some stores do a great job with that, but if this is the average, 187 and 32, a lot of stores are not even doing anything close to that. So a quick and efficient sales and F&I process that is professional and transparent. Number two, they want to talk with someone, preferably one person. Preferably one person who will help them get the vehicle they want and a price and payment they can afford. Think about that. I think the key phrase there is preferably one person. The back and forth, the desk, the tower, whatever it is, we got to be better than that. Talk with someone, preferably one person, who can help them get the vehicle that they want at a price and payment they can afford. That's why a number of dealership groups and one large public company has elected to completely eliminate the F&I process and the F&I manager position. And you probably know who I'm referring to. It's Sonic Automotive. Sonic Automotive is a public company. They're the 5th largest dealer group in America. They have 112 dealerships. And their commitment is called One Sonic, One Experience. One Sonic, One Experience. And the idea is to have the customer in and out, the sale of the vehicle, the F&I process, in 45 minutes or less. All of their salespeople have been issued tablets. They're doing a tremendous job with training. And now for 2019, they're entering really their 3rd year of making this happen. But Sonic is committed to that. One Sonic, One Experience, 45 minutes or less. Let's think about this. Even if they never get down to 45, but they get down to twice that amount, 90 minutes, they would still be significantly less than the average of 187 and 32. By the way, I'm also told by a reliable source that Lexus, as a manufacturer, will be doing the same thing and requesting that or mandating that for 2019 as well, the elimination of that F&I process, the F&I experience. Number three, the third top thing that customers chose on the survey is the fact that they want a beneficial F&I experience that expedites the delivery process, not prolongs it. A beneficial F&I experience that expedites the delivery process, not prolongs it. Think about your F&I process, your F&I technique. I mean, how many steps to a sale do you have? And I think there's no right or wrong answer. I've been in stores where that number has been 15 to 18 steps. I was also in one not too long ago that utilized just 4 steps. There's nothing wrong with that. And the 4 steps that worked for them were nothing more than introduction, rapport, qualify, present, and close. Quite frankly, I've also been in stores that have no process at all. That's kind of interesting because sometimes they had great months. Sometimes the months are really not very great. I kind of call that the SWAG method, S-W-A-G, which stands for Scientific Wild Ass Guess. So think about that. As we have that finance and insurance turnover or transfer of trust from that professional salesperson to that financial services manager or business consultant, let's tell them how long that they're going to be there. Folks, this will take about 30, 45 minutes. We're going to wrap it up in 45 or 60 minutes. If it's longer than that, tell them whatever that is. And the idea is we want to have complete transparency as it relates to this process. So a beneficial finance and insurance experience that expedites the delivery process, not prolongs it. Number 3, again, remember our objective, clear and sharp on the top 4 things. Number 3 is they want to talk with an F&I professional. An F&I professional that adds value to the purchase experience, not aggravation. Value, think about the definition of value. F&I experience that adds value to that experience. and value is relative worth, utility, or importance. And quite frankly, we think that that value now comes through conversational selling, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Not a monologue or conventional dialogue, but conversational selling or interactive. And finally, number 4, I want to talk to that purchase experience, not prolongs it. Number 4 is the aggravation. An F&I professional who adds value to the purchase experience, not aggravation, the relative worth, utility, or importance. Okay? Our refocus conclusion. To be clear and sharp on the top 4 things customers want based upon focus group data. Number 1 is create a transfer of trust. Transfer of trust. Rather than call it a TO or referral, let's give the salesperson credit for having that trust relationship with the consumer. Now what we're asking him or her to do is to transfer that trust to you as the financial services manager or business consultant. So the 2 titles that we like and that we know that work very, very well, especially today with the consumers and the things that they're asking and what they're saying, is that the business consultant is an excellent term because we're taking a consultative approach, but also my personal favorite is FSM, Financial Services Manager. So as we think about that transfer of trust and verbalize that with the retail consumer, we want to be able to share with them that our Financial Services Manager will do 3 things. Number 1, expedite the delivery process for you and your family. Number 2, assist you with your financial arrangements. And number 3, discuss the manufacturer's limited warranty, or perhaps it's the remaining portion of the manufacturer's limited warranty on your new whatever, and how it ties in or relates to your driving habits. The bottom line is our focus might need changing as it relates to refocus. The bottom line is our focus might need changing. What I mean by that, instead of saying or thinking, you know, I have or we have all these products, how can I sell them to my customers? We might think of that as the old way of thinking. My challenge to you is the new way of thinking that might be something like this. You know, we have all these customers. How can my products help them? How can my products help them? So refocus. Next, recommit. Commit to pledge to conduct business the right way. And no, right is not misspelled by our marketing department, but we're going to see a little bit later that right is going to stand for, as an acronym, the 5 principles of how we conduct business. And those 5 principles we're going to see is respect, honesty, integrity, transparency, and trust. Respect, honesty, integrity, transparency, and trust. 4 questions from the sales side, 4 questions from the finance and insurance side. I know we're joined this afternoon by my good friend, Ed Stewart. Ed and I have worked together for really probably 25 years. Ed is joining us today from Grapevine, Texas. In fact, he's doing a class this week with one of the largest dealer groups in the Dallas Metroplex area. This is day 3 of their class. He has 11 salespeople with him. And quite frankly, this frame, the 4 questions on sales and really the 4 questions at F&I, is something that Ed really did on Monday of this week. And here they are, the 4 questions that are on the mind of every customer from a sales standpoint that we need to be able to address. Number 1 is why your product. Number 2, why your dealership. Number 3, why buy now. And number 4, why buy me as a professional sales consultant. Ed calls that class the right car sales training. Why the right car? Because the key to maximizing deal profit is to have the customer on the right car before they ever get into F&I. So the bottom line with those 4 whys, especially why your product, we know that they really tie in to the 6 dominant buying motives that most customers have with respect to their purchase. And not all 6 will be dominant, but 2 or 3 will be with each and every customer. And what are those 6 dominant buying motives? It's safety, performance, appearance, comfort, economy, and dependability. Safety, performance, appearance, comfort, economy, and dependability. Now, the 4 questions at F&I are kind of interesting. These are 4 questions that we've learned over the years that the customer probably will never, ever verbally ask you these questions out loud. It would almost be better if they did. The problem is they're thinking about these questions based upon what you're doing or not doing. So what are these 4 questions? Number 1, can I trust you? Number 2, are you credible? Number 3, do you care? And last but certainly not least, is this guy, is this lady, is this person, are they really trying to help me, or are they just trying to sell me something? So can I trust you? Are you credible? And do you care? I would share with you, if their answer to any one of those four is no, or I don't think so, or I'm not sure, or not very much, whatever, we're probably doomed as far as successfully presenting and selling the products that comprise our unique financial package. By the way, you don't see rapport in there, but I would put rapport with credibility. From a training standpoint, forget about developing rapport, let's develop credibility. If we develop credibility in almost every case, rapport will take care of itself. So, can I trust you? Are you credible? And do you care? All right, here we go. The pledge to conduct business the right way. The right way. We talked about this in developing a dealership value statement. Over the years, many dealerships have used the term base statement. I personally like the DVS or dealership value statement. And quite frankly, the DVS or value statement is your dealership DNA. It really is. It's your dealership DNA. It tells the customer what you're really all about and what you're committed to. So the right way, RHITT, R certainly stands for respect. Respect is really showing consideration for people. Honesty is the H, the fact that you're truthful and certainly trustworthy. Integrity, what's integrity? Integrity is a strict or firm adherence, to a code or standard of values. Transparency, making sure that things are clearly seen and easily understood. And last but not least is trust. And trust is really the belief in the honesty and reliability of another person. So it's interesting how some organizations have used this and developed this right way as it relates to their dealership value statement. Again, mentioning my time in Harrisburg the first week in December, I remember watching Monday Night Football that week, and during the Monday Night Football game, there was an ad on TV for a very large dealer group in the Philadelphia market area. I won't mention their name, you probably know who it is, and it was very interesting because the general manager that was doing that ad, he says, our commitment here at our dealership, quite frankly, is to do and conduct business the right way. And then he went on to talk to them about what that right way is or was. In my own backyard of the DFW Metroplex, and I live in Arlington, Texas, that would be the home of the not-so-powerful Cowboys and also the not-so-powerful Texas Rangers. But the largest Toyota store in the Dallas Metroplex area, their general manager is a man that I had the opportunity to work with and train when he first got into F&I back in the 1990s. He's now the general manager and partner of the largest Toyota dealership in Metro DFW. He does commercials on a regular basis, radio and TV and that kind of thing, does a great job. And in the Dallas Metroplex area, every Saturday morning, there's a syndicated radio talk show called the Car Pro Show. It's on station WBAP, and you can get them in numerous states around the country. The host is Jerry Reynolds. Jerry's a good friend of mine. Jerry was a Ford dealer for many, many years, and he hosts the Car Pro Show for 2 hours on Saturday morning. Then Saturday afternoon, they switch to the West Coast and do 2 hours for the Los Angeles market. Well, they regularly talk to my friend, who's the general manager and the partner at this dealership group, the Toyota store in the Metroplex. And the other day when he was talking, here's exactly what he says. He says, you know, when it comes to financial transactions at our organization, everything that we do is based on three things. And quite frankly, those three things are honesty, integrity, and transparency. It's pretty good. I would call that the HIT effect, HIT. Everything that we do is based on honesty, integrity, and transparency. Try it. You might like it. Also joining us this afternoon is one of our very successful agency groups in the Pacific Northwest. And that specific agency group, in their brochures and marketing approach, whatever, they've taken to this idea of conducting business the right way as well. Although their version of it is they spell out right the right way. They actually spell it R-I-G-H-T, the right way. But R-I-G-H-T to them stands for respect and integrity with genuine honesty and trust. And they do it the right way. And it's very significant and serious to them. Respect and integrity with genuine honesty and trust. So folks, don't shortcut this leadership value statement. Take the time to do it. I remember at the Harrisburg seminar, I was role-playing that with someone, and I asked them to time my presentation of a leadership value statement. And really, I picked one of the groups in the room because the dealer was present as well. And my presentation was 48 seconds. 48 seconds to the DBS. And while I was doing that, I saw a couple of ladies sitting right in front of me, and I'm doing the role play, whatever, and I see what the one lady is saying to the other, not verbally, but just mouthing it, and she says, "It's way too long. It's way too long. It's way too long." Well, obviously, I felt like throwing something at them. I didn't do that, but at the end of that, I said something like, I know many of you are probably thinking that takes a long time to do that. Why should I do that? However, let's consider this. Let's go to the 3 or 4 dealers in the room this afternoon and ask them, was that 48 seconds too long to tell the retail customer about your dealership and what differentiates you from the other stores in that particular market area? And to a person, they all said that 48 seconds was nothing. So if you think it's too long, maybe we need to sacrifice and get rid of something else to have time to do at least a 48-second or a minute to a minute and a half dealership value statement. It's your DNA. It tells the customer who you are. It sets up your presentation for you. And it's the key to the presentation of your unique financial package. Commit the right way. Our unique financial package. Recommendation for you. For all of your products and services, whether they're VSC, GAP, prepaid maintenance, tire and wheel key, SAS, whatever they are. I've been in stores, I think, again, the largest number I saw in the store was 16 products. Imagine that on a menu. But when I talked to the agent about that a number of years ago, here's exactly what she said. She said the problem is they don't sell any one of them effectively, or any one of them well. And probably the least amount that I've seen is 3. And that would be in maybe several RV stores or something like that. So somewhere between 3 and 16. But here's the recommendation. Whatever that number is, from a package standpoint, not paying a packing, but from a packing standpoint, let's refer to all of those products and services as our unique financial package, And the beauty of our unique financial package is really kind of threefold. You'll be happy to know as a consumer that number one, it's very convenient and easy to take advantage of. What I mean by that, folks, is this afternoon at 3:30, when you take delivery of your whatever, you can also take home with you your financial package as well. Secondly, folks, it's available really to almost everyone, less a purchase from us here at our dealership. But number 3, and the most important reason why we developed this program with our financial partners, quite frankly, is because we care. Folks, we really do. We do things a bit differently here at our dealership because we care really not just about your business today. Obviously, that's very important to us, but folks, really, we care about gaining your respect and earning your repeat and referral business for the future as well. So as we do that and we present our unique financial package to the consumer, let's talk for just a minute, it's not on your screen, about maybe 5 things that this UFP, unique financial package, does for you from an impact benefit statement standpoint. What it does for you is designed to protect, number 1, your family budget. Think about that. Our unique financial package is designed to protect your family budget. Number 2 is designed to protect your good credit. That is your credit track record. Number 3, folks, is designed to protect your investment. Really, your increasing investment. And what's the increasing investment? If they gave you any cash down up front, that's an initial investment. If there's such a thing as positive equity up front, that's investment, an increasing investment. And even if they don't have any cash or positive equity, they're always going to have number 3. Mr. Customer, beginning in 30 or 45 days from today, anywhere between February 16th and March 3rd, when you begin making those payments to Last National Bank, what's really happening to your investment in cash? Everybody will get that right. It's certainly going up. Well, doesn't it make sense that if you can to protect both your good credit and your increased investment at the same time? Number 4, our package protects your personal savings. And last but not least, number 5, it may protect your vehicle itself. Now, in many respects, I would say to you today that building value and developing need awareness for these products has never been easier. And what I mean by that is give your customers some credible third-party information. And it's not hard to find. Here's 3 or 4 that I got just in the past few months, and a couple of them even this week. Number 1 is an article that appeared in F&I and Showroom magazine, the July issue of F&I and Showroom. The article said that 78% of American households live paycheck to paycheck. Think about that. Tie that into your budget and savings. Number two, I just heard here in Chicago this week, it was a Fox News report, and here's what it was. 70% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account. Number 3 and 4 are great. They're from AAA, so obviously it's very credible, right? AAA. AAA said recently that 1 in 3 U.S. drivers can't afford an unexpected repair of at least $600 without going into significant debt. And that 1 in 3 U.S. drivers is 64 million drivers. So 1 in 3 cannot afford an unexpected repair bill of $600 without going into significant debt. Number 4, also from AAA, the high cost of pothole damage. AAA says that the average pothole repair bill is $300 per repair. They also talk about the fact that it's a $3 billion industry, and obviously that number is going up. Every time I think about the pothole repair presentation, I think of a lady that we always talk with, and we have her as a panel many times at both the industry summit and the industry summit and the agent summit as well. She's an F&I director with a large dealer group in Maryland, and she says, look, I just pull out a dollar bill. I just pull out a dollar bill and say, hey, Mr. Customer, this dollar bill is about 2.5 inches tall. That 2.5 inches tall is about the same as your awesome low profile tires and rims. She says the problem is most potholes are 2, 3, or 4 times that deep. So when that tire and rim hits that pothole, probably it's going to have to charm deal, and maybe the dollar bill is just hot. And then just like American homeowners can't afford a $100 emergency. So we have all that's out there. This is just a few things. If we share that with the customer, what we're really doing is working smarter, not harder. We're sharing information to the customer that becomes and allows them to have an emotional connection to our product. And that's the key. Tell them something that they didn't know, provide them with information, develop or have them see an emotional attachment that connects to our product, and then from an individual benefit statement standpoint, what can we say? You'll be happy to know, folks, that because we care, our unique financial package not only provides you with financial or monetary relief, but you'll be happy to know also emotional relief as well. Folks, what can be better than that? And again, we provide you with this information as part of our unique financial package, once again, because we care. So commit. The pledge to conduct business the right way. Next, from a commit standpoint, let's commit ourselves to implementing the F&I 4-way stop. We had a great sales meeting with a group in Indiana last year with the entire members of the management team. This became really a great interactive deal. Chuck Hobbs and I talk about this in every F&I class. There's various ways to do this, but it's based upon what you're doing or not doing in your respective dealerships. What's the implementation of the F&I 4-way stop sales process? Number 1, commit yourself to stop the fake chit-chat. Stop the fake chit-chat. Well, I don't know what the fake chit-chat is in your store, but you know what it is because you're doing it. Number 2, stop the phony surveys. Stop the phony surveys. They're time-consuming. And by the way, how much information do you really need from a survey standpoint to present a vehicle service contract or a tire and wheel, or prepaid maintenance, or gap protection? Stop the fake chit-chat, stop the phony surveys. Number 3, stop the interrogations. What's the interrogations? The interrogations are the mindless, endless questions that we've been taught for decades to ask customers about these products. The problem is they've heard these questions over and over and over again, and it's nothing more than a root canal to them. And they're thinking, hey, here we go again, nothing has changed. And then last but certainly not least, and maybe the most important thing, think about this, the 187 and the 32-minute wait to get into F&I. That's number 4. Let's stop the magic menu wait. The customer is sitting out in your lounge, they're drinking coffee, they're looking at something or whatever. Hopefully we're starting the delivery process and going over some things with them, but they see that nobody's in your office. Suddenly you come and get them and bring them back, but it's like, well, why haven't I been in here before now? Well, the reason is because we've been preparing the magic menu. What we're suggesting to you is to get rid of that and eat into that 30 to 32-minute delay, bring customers in and complete that menu process with them. Now, I understand that there's challenges with that sometimes because your menu program is perhaps not compatible with your DMS. We've got to do certain things, whatever, to get ready. But on the other hand, many times we're already ready. Let's bring the customer in, start talking to them, and get this process moving along. Next is our commit conclusion. Very simply, stop making customers wait. Stop making customers wait. Number two, spend their wasted time like it's your money. Spend their wasted time like it's your money, because quite frankly, it is. It's costing you money personally, yourself, your dealership, your agency, the F&I product providers, whatever, because of that 187 and 132. Number three, transparency. What's transparency? Openly share information with every customer so they understand every part of that F&I process. Transparency, meaning things being clearly seen and certainly easily understood. And with that transparency, quite frankly, let's just talk about a minute from a disclosure standpoint. We're not only talking about disclosure and transparency of the retail installment sale contract, with Reg Z, Truth in Lending, requiring them to give it to the customer before we show it to them, give before show. But also, in addition to the retail installment sale contract, is transparency as it relates to your F&I products and services. So rather than spend all kinds of time with brochures and laminates that we may use or may not use with respect to the product presentation, let's make sure that we're providing ample time for the customer to review the F&I product contract as well. Because from a transparency standpoint, they must understand the coverages, they must understand the exclusions, and they must understand, depending upon your product, any maintenance requirements as well. Quite frankly, folks, if we're not doing that, I don't know how we can say that we're transparent at all. So commit. Now we hit assess. The objective to assess is to evaluate the quality of your personal presentation. Here we go with Zig Ziglar, to evaluate the quality of your personal presentation. The most important question in sales or selling, for Mr. Ziglar, very simply, what do our customers see in us? So the word C becomes an acronym, and it becomes sincerity, enthusiasm, and empathy. Sincerity. Now, Zig's not talking about, we're not talking about the dictionary definition of sincerity, which is honest, clean, pure, and without deceit. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm talking about with us, from what we do every day, from a sincerity standpoint, a practical application or definition. And that would be, from a sincerity standpoint, being the same in actual character as an outward appearance. Being the same in actual character as an outward appearance. So the customer sees today this great presentation with sincerity. 6 months, a year, 3 years later, they come back with a problem. Or they come back because the claim was denied. They don't understand this, they don't understand that. Do they see that same sincerity then that they saw today? Sincerity, being the same in actual character as an outward appearance. Enthusiasm. Again, not the dictionary definition of zeal or fervor about something, but the practical application definition. Enthusiasm. It's an outward expression of your inner confidence. It's very important. It's who you are. It's what you're about. It's part of your DNA again, right? An outward expression of your inner confidence. Feeling good about who you are, what you're doing for a living. Your dealership is the best in the area, the best in the town, the city, the state, whatever. And your products and services are the best available as well. We have that kind of confidence. And again, as Zig would say, the last 4 letters of enthusiasm, very important. IASM, that stands for I am sold myself, and many customers can see that. And last but not least is empathy. And empathy, not to put yourself in someone else's shoes, but the ability to put yourself in someone else's emotional position. Put yourself in someone else's emotional position. How do we do that? We have to ask questions. We call them power questions and power words, okay? Next, to evaluate the quality of your personal presentation, the history and evolution of the finance and insurance presentation. I first went to my first F&I class when I got into F&I in 1972, before some of you were born. I joined that company in 1976 and stayed with them until 1989. I will tell you, from 1972 and even before that, through 1985, the presentation was nothing more than a monologue. We were given a 25-page script to memorize, come back in, do role play, go on tape, and even role play, how to develop rapport with people. The second presentation is the dialogue. And then number 3, and we really think the best way to go, is to commit yourself and accept, if you can, the pain and change that it takes to learn and try something new and convert to conversational selling. What do we mean by this? Monologue, been around since the 1970s to the mid-1980s, although quite frankly, some people are using it even today. Monologue is a speech or presentation by one person. The problem is that there's no interaction. We don't really know what the customer is feeling. We don't know what they're thinking. We get no feedback until it's too late, and the answer is no, 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 and no. The second presentation is the era of the dialogue. We began that in the mid-1980s. It's current today, and a dialogue is what you want. So 1980s to the present. A dialogue is a discussion between two or more people. The key to that is to ask relevant questions that lead the customer to the conclusion of your product, service, or sales idea. The good part about a dialogue is that it's businesslike. That's what you want because it involves interaction. The bad part for some people, this monologue now becomes and has become too formal. And the reason why it's too formal is because it's too scripted. Because of that, it has become an interrogation. We call that the root canal, and what that leads to is combative conversation. So when that dialogue is too formal, it becomes an interrogation, it leads to combative conversation. Some of you on our webinar today will know the term guided discovery. Guided discovery is a process that we came with in the mid-1980s as it related to dialogue presentations of our products and services. And what it really was a step cell of each individual product and service individually based upon 4 steps. And those 4 steps were qualify, need awareness, need satisfaction, and trial close. And from a sales standpoint, it makes some sense even today if it's done the right way. However, what we really did is we took that 25 or 28-page script, monologue, and turned it into dialogue. So we made questions out of all of that monologue stuff. So now, if you're not careful, we sound like a machine. For example, for decades, we've taught this. 5 questions as it relates to qualify for the service contract. How many miles a year do you drive? How long do you plan to keep your new car? Is there a chance you might be keeping this car another 6 months or a year longer, or driving some additional miles due to a change in driving habits within your family? Where do you currently have your vehicle serviced and maintained? And last but not least, folks, let me ask you, how much time and mileage is remaining on the vehicle service contract on the vehicle you're planning to sell with us? It's a script. It's 5 questions. We've taught that. I've taught that for decades, quite frankly. Then we get into need awareness. 5 more questions. Did your salesperson happen to discuss the manufacturer's limited warranty on your new whatever? Gee, did that great, or gee, didn't? Well, no problem. We're going to go over it with you anyhow. What's your understanding of that manufacturer's limited warranty? Then we did the timeline illustration on paper, showing the customer from a need awareness standpoint the area of exposure or miles at risk where you're going to be 100% risk responsible. Question number 4, any idea, or number 3 really, any idea what's happening to repair costs due to inflation alone? It's going up, and ultimately, doesn't it make sense if you can to eliminate that impact of inflation and the cost of most major and minor repairs in your new car for the next, let's say, 7 years or 100,000 miles? So you got 5, 8, 10 questions that are business-like. They became too formal, became an interrogation, and it leads to combative conversation. So now, what are we doing to combat that? Next, many people have accepted the pain and change, and to evaluate the quality of their personal presentation, they've converted to conversational selling. And I would certainly endorse that this is the way to go. Quite frankly, it's not for everybody, because not everybody will accept that pain and change to learn and try something new. But if you really do, you might find it much more enjoyable. It's certainly CSI friendly, and you're responding to the customer's request for information as opposed to hitting them with this dialogue or monologue sales presentation. So what does conversational selling mean? Number 1, we want to take dialogue to the next level. It's an informal exchange of ideas. The key is to respond to customer requests for information, developing impact benefit statements for all of our products, and developing impact benefit questions that make customers stop and think. Words are powerful. And one thing that I learned just in the past year and a half or 2 years from a sales psychologist, that was the title, is that the 2 most powerful words or power words are the words one and describe. Think about that, are the words one and describe. we invite you to think about using the words "one" and "describe" as you make your presentation. So, from a standpoint of making that presentation, okay, and the opportunity to eliminate how many miles a year do you drive, how long do you plan to keep your new car, might those driving habits change? For 45 or 60 days, let's try this approach. Here's 5 new questions for you. Here we go. Mr. Customer, let me ask you, what is the one technology feature? What is the one technology feature that excites you the most on your new vehicle? Now, we've got to be a good listener and listen to what they say. What is the one technology feature that excites you the most? What are you going to get? I don't know. Maybe it's adaptive cruise control. Maybe it's the collision avoidance system. Maybe it's 360-degree camera, whatever, but they're going to respond. Now, because we're a good listener, we have the product knowledge, let's talk to the customer about the fact that, hey, technology is the real deal. Most cars today have an average of 30 computer modules inside of them. That's breaking down to thousands of component parts and parts. So tell them what this particular thing is, what it does, what happens when it fails, and most important, what it costs to replace it. So folks, let me ask you, what is the one technology feature that excites you the most on your new vehicle? And that can be asked anytime during your one-on-one with the customer. It doesn't have to be at a set time that we would ask that. Question number 2, how would you describe, there's the key word again, power word, how would you describe a typical month with your vehicle? How can that lead us to tire and wheel, dent and ding, environmental protection? You be the judge of that. How would you describe a typical month with your vehicle? Number 3, how would you describe a typical weekend for you and your family with your vehicle? Great question. Again, environmental, dent and ding, tire and wheel, appearance protection, Eco-Pro, whatever your products are. So what is the one technology feature? Describe and describe. And now you've really arrived if we can use the words one and describe in the same question. Here's 2 examples. Mr. Customer, let me ask you, what one word would best describe the vehicle you're trading in today? What one word would best describe the vehicle you're trading in today? And then maybe you follow it up with why would that be? And many times it's going to be what? The cost of repairs was eating me alive. Well, what does that sound like a presentation to? The service contract and what it provides or offers you. And then maybe the most important one, especially as it relates to our ancillary products, dent and ding, tire and wheel, environmental, prepaid maintenance, whatever, is the last question. Mr. Customer, let me ask you, what one word would best describe how you felt when? What one word would best describe how you felt when? Now what we have to do is take the time to verbalize a story or situation about a particular product. What one word would best describe how you felt when you came out of the Kroger supermarket and walked toward your car, and as you got closer, there you saw a shopping cart next to your door. Your brand new vehicle, whatever. First time that happened to my wife, she was not real happy. 2 weeks after her new car. Well, what one word would best describe? Because there you have the scrape or scratch, you got the dent and ding, it could be other things. Mr. Customer, what word would best describe how you felt when driving along and you don't see it in time, but there's the debris in the roadway? Nails, glass, metal, potholes, rocks, the tree limbs, all the debris in the roadway that's not supposed to be there. You try to serve and avoid it, but you miss it, and man, you hear the thud and you know what's happened. The tires are rimmed, we got a problem. Mr. Customer, what one word would best describe how you felt when that red or orange light came on your dashboard and your eyesight wasn't good enough to read or understand that the icon on your dash, because quite frankly, it looked like a cartoon, and you had no idea to find out where the warranty booklet was. What one word would best describe how you felt when that happened? Quite frankly, folks, that happened to me over the Christmas holidays. I was back in Ohio visiting my 92-year-old mother. When I left that day, I was driving my Avis rental car Kia back to Cleveland Hopkins Airport. I'm on the Ohio Turnpike, about maybe 15 minutes away from the airport. I hear this little ding, and I look down at the dash, and there I see an orange icon that I can't make out, but it looks like a collision or something that blew up or whatever, and I see a little car. So I'm thinking to myself, that must be this ever-popular collision avoidance system. There's nothing in front of me, there's nothing behind me, there's nothing beside me, whatever. So what the heck is going on with this? So what one word best describe how you felt when? I won't tell you what that word was, but I will tell you this, those kind of things happen to each and every customer. Now, a true story, and if Ed Stewart is still with us, he can verify this. We actually asked that question with a large dealer group for a period of time in Oklahoma City. At the time, we didn't have the one words that we weren't using the words one and describe, but we used the question, how did you feel when? How did you feel when? Then we verbalized the story. And the responses that we got, the top 5 responses that we got, all began with the letters A, C, and P. True story. What one word would best describe how you felt when? Verbalize that story or situation, and here's what you'll find. The first A stands for alone. And I was alone, I was by myself, I didn't know what to do. The second one, I was angry, I got mad, really bothered me. Number 3, it was late at night, I was by myself, I was afraid. So the AAAs are alone, angry, afraid. The C comment from many customers was, I didn't know what to do. I was confused, had no idea what to do. And because of the A, and C, or a combination of that, the P you can probably guess. The P became panic. I really panicked, I didn't know what to do. So now what we want to be able to share with our customers, hey, because we care, our unique financial package, once again, not only provides you with financial or monetary relief, but folks really also emotional relief as well. And really, what can be better than that? And finally, our reassess conclusion. Number 1, every customer must learn something that they did not know before meeting you. So you're the consultant. You tell them something new that they did not know before. Number 2, every customer must feel. They need to have that emotional connection to a product. If we can do that, that emotional connection to the product really becomes more important than the product itself in the mind of the customer. It really does. Now, how do we do that? The emotional connection, what do we tie that to? We tie that to the 5 things that the unique financial package does for the customer. Protects your budget, protects your credit, protects your investment, protects your personal savings, and last but not least, perhaps even the vehicle itself. And then finally, from a standpoint of maybe an F&I mission or policy statement, this is an actual one from a large dealer group in the Pacific Northwest. I've shared this with probably many of you for several years now, and I think it's excellent. So if you're looking for an F&I mission or policy statement for your store, maybe they can sound or look something like this, and here it is. Every customer knows what they're getting, they agree to buy it, they know why they need it, and they feel good about it when they leave our dealership. Every customer knows what they're getting, they agree to buy it, they know why they need it, and they feel good about it when they leave our store. Pretty good. Folks, when you think about it, if we commit ourselves to that, if we do just this, the results will be, or can be, certainly not only success in sales and F&I, but also, quite frankly, success for ourselves and our families, and finally, success for our respective dealers, dealerships, general agencies, agent partners, and finally, your respective F&I product providers as well. With that, I now want to turn back to John Friedland and see if we have any questions, comments, and concerns that you might have to respond to that for you if we can. John?
Yeah, we did have one question come in, Bob, and it had to do with menus. It said, what about menus? Should they be used with every customer?
Would you read that again?
What about menus, and should they be used with every customer?
Okay, real quickly, what about menus? Should they be used with every customer? You know, that's kind of a sales question, but quite frankly, it's also a compliance question. So before I answer that, let's do our standard disclaimer as it relates to compliance. Please remember that I'm certainly not an attorney. I don't pretend to be, so nothing that I say, give, or show you is in any way intended as legal advice. It's simply to help you look at, evaluate, and if necessary, improve the overall effectiveness of your business policies or your business practices. Obviously, consult with your attorney, your house counsel regarding the legality of any policy or procedures that you would ultimately change or adopt. So, menus with each and every customer, was that it, John?
Yes.
We have to make a decision. That is, we need to be all in or all out as it relates to menus. Either 100% in, using with each and every customer, or 100% out. Quite frankly, if you don't, it's only a matter of time till the dreaded D word of discrimination creeps in. So, I certainly believe in 100% in with each and every customer. Saying that, I would also say to you, it's important to realize that F&I is not really about menus. It's about much more than that. F&I is not about menus. In fact, I would say to you, really, that a menu is not a panacea or magic bullet for F&I success. A menu is certainly not a panacea or a magic bullet for compliance. If it was, non-compliant menu sales wouldn't be part of the AFib 7 deadly sins of F&I. Non-compliant menu sales, the 7 deadly sins of F&I, the 7 most common errors that cause dealers to become the targets of bad things: media exposés, class action lawsuits, and high-dollar regulatory fines. So they're not a magic bullet for F&I success. Stephen Covey, not an avid reader, not a good reader, but Stephen Covey says, among other things, he says, when it comes to success in business, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. That's pretty good. When it comes to success in business, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. I would say to you, quite frankly, when it comes to F&I, that the main thing is about helping customers make an informed decision about the options that are available to them in connection with their purchase. When you come to our 4-day class, Chuck Hobbs and I spend a large amount of time on successful menu selling and putting that together and role-playing with each and every person that comes to class. There's different ways to do that. We have differing opinions, whatever, but we have to ultimately make that presentation based upon compliance and ethics, and also based upon our own personality and style. What do you think, John? Does that answer that?
Yeah, I think you covered it.
Back to you, sir.
We've had a couple more questions come in, Bob. So another one is, what do you feel is the future of the one-column menu on a go-forward basis? Products, column 1, and then optional column?
I love that question. I didn't come up with that. It's certainly not a plan. And I'm looking at that now on the screen. I've been advocating and promoting a single column menu for a year and a half or 2 years. On a percentage basis, what I usually see is 4 columns: platinum, gold, silver, bronze, rust, tinfoil, whatever. Probably not rust or tinfoil, but why not? You have everything else out. Okay. Have a blank menu called custom. Okay. And get rid of the redundancy of having products listed 2, 3, or 4 times. Okay. Single column menu. Okay. So what can we say? So here's a menu breakdown, a recap of your options that are available to protect your credit and your investment. As you can see, our unique financial package here at our dealership is comprised of 5 options. The great news is you can choose all of these options. Quite frankly, folks, you can choose none of them, because nothing is required or is a condition of financing. Or folks, if you're like many of our clients here at our dealership, what you can really do is mix and match your options over here, and as this column indicates here, truly customize a plan. Really customize a plan that fits your driving habits perfectly. Folks, let me ask you, which of these options would work best for you and your family and your budget today? Okay. John? Thank you, Bob.
Another one came in. Someone out there has come across a large company that has extended warranty on their brochures. Has the law changed about using the word warranty, Bob?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
That answers that.
All right.
Warranty is something that we get as a consumer in the selling price at no extra cost.
All right.
What we're selling in our stores are vehicle service contracts and things of that nature. But warranty is something that we get in with the product at no additional cost.
All right. As a final, Bob, would you like to just touch on the workshop and the future webinar coming up here?
Great. We committed this year, Chuck Hobbs and myself and others, as it relates to our webinars and also our classes. We're doing our classes, our 4-day classes quarterly. The first class will be the week of February 18th, right here in beautiful Warrenville, Illinois, and the weather ought to be great by the middle of February. That's Monday through Thursday. We invite you to join us. We have several people signed up for class already. And then what we thought we would do is every month before the actual university, the 4-day class, we would do like we're doing today, and that would be a webinar on a topic of interest at that time, and you'll have plenty of opportunity to know what that topic is and register for the next ones as well. So our next webinar will be, again, on Wednesday. It's April 17th, and our 4-day class is the week of February 18th. John?
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, this is available to all of you as a recording via email. You can also reach out to Bob Harkins at the email on your screen now, bharkins@agwsinc.com for any further questions. Thank you very much for joining our webinar series. Take care.